Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, David Riggleman, Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas. On this show, we'll be discussing issues related to Ward 6. And the councilman who represents this ward, Councilman and Mayor Pro Tem, Steve Ross, joins me now. Councilman, great to have you here. It's kind of a bittersweet day for me because this is your last Access City Council show. We have worked together and done this show every year for the last 12 years. And because of term limits, you are going to be saying goodbye to the council in June. And the way our show falls, we're going to have to say goodbye to you on this show today. I don't know if I'm really ready to do that yet, but I guess we've got to do it one way or the other.
It's been a lot of fun. You guys have been great to work with, and you've really helped me get the message out there to the constituents, not only in Ward 6 and Centennial Hills, but throughout the city of Las Vegas. This vehicle gives every council member that opportunity to speak directly to the constituents and let them know what's going on in their respective part of the city. And you have a great team that does it.
Thank you very much, Councilman. It's been a pleasure working with you and your team. We're going to meet some of your team members before the end of the show as well. Kind of have a little reunion here. For those of you that aren't really sure, we'll show you where Ward 6 is located. He knows it very well. He's served this ward for the last 12 years, we said, since 2005. That's what it looks like currently. It's changed a lot in the years that he has been on the city council. It was much larger geographically than that as the city's population changed. Then we had to redistrict, and Ward 6 was always the place where all the growth was. But Councilman, you know what we wanted to do is we wanted to start off with a little retrospect. You're 12 years. You've done a lot of TV appearances here on Channel 2 over the last 12 years. So we've got a little video that we put together. My team did this. I know Eric Sorensen on our team worked on this, and everybody had a hand in it to some degree.
Should I be afraid?
I think the opening sequence will be very interesting when you see this because there's a couple guys you're going to ask, who are they?
Okay.
So, folks, if you could please roll this. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Access City Council. I'm David Riggleman, Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas. Access City Council is designed to bring you a more open city government, neighborhood by neighborhood, ward by ward. If you live in the City of Las Vegas, we'll discuss the issues that affect you and offer solutions presented by your City Council members. On today's program, we're discussing issues in Ward 6 with the very new councilman out there, Stephen Ross. Good to have you on.
Thank you for having me, David.
This is your inaugural show.
It is. Kind of exciting, isn't it? Gonzalez was a broadcaster here in the city of Las Vegas and well loved. Not only was she well respected for those efforts, but she was also a mother and an advocate for the youth of this community. And I can't think of a better way to recognize her but to name that park after her. Make it go up. I think we need more. How I got the big bucket,
You got
I
the
don't
Big Daddy
know.
bucket there, yeah.
But Mayor Darrell Wester, this is the Northwest Youth Council. They got to be the ones to dump us. Oh yeah,
Here's the GoPro.
Here we are on GoPro.
Steve Ross is one of those kind of guys. I always enjoyed talking to him. He always listened. In fact, my dad told me a long time ago, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And he says, do you know why? And I said, don't have any idea, Dad. He says, you're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk. And that's kind of the way Steve and I was when we was together. If I talked, he would listen, and if he was talking, I would listen to him.
You are one spectacular guy. And I remember when I first decided at the last minute to run for office, I went around the floor to ask to see who would support me, and you were right there. You said, bring the media on. But I knew all the time that it was because you're a handsome dude and you love to be in front of the camera. It had nothing to do with me. But I kid you. I know, in fact, you've always been there. You're a stand-up guy. You've accomplished so much in your 12 years, and you're going to be sorely missed, especially by me. And I know you'll be by, and then you have all those children and grandchildren. So we know Rosses will forever be around us and with us. So good luck to you, and just remember, we appreciate you.
I am a public servant, and I am such. I remember where I come from, and I made that promise. I won't forget. So I'm grateful to serve in this capacity. It just gives me one more opportunity to serve in a different area, and I'm grateful for that the voters trusted me enough to do that.
Congratulations, good luck.
Thank you.
We'll see you back here on this show in 6
Okay.
weeks. We'll do it again, give everybody another update from Ward 6.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, that's all for this edition of Access City Council. We'll see you next time right here on KCLV, where we bring city government closer to you. Thanks for watching, everyone. Wow.
Thank you, David. Thank you guys very much for putting that together.
That was our first show, and this will be our last together. Gosh, 12 years went by fast.
I know. We looked a lot younger. Did
We
you notice
did.
that?
I told you, you're going to ask, who are those guys? So you did better than I have over the years. Like, yo, what happened to him?
You know, what a
You
lot
look
of fun.
fine.
Thank you for putting that together. I mean,
Sure.
you can
Labor
tell
love.
I've loved this job. This has been the best job I've ever had. I love serving this community, and you made me cry. So good job.
Well, I got a little misty-eyed there too. So maybe we'll, well. Councilman, a lot of things you did that were first that we just were thrilled with. One of the things, you are a king of social media. You have embraced it. You are on Facebook, you're on Twitter, and but the times change, and you've rolled with the times. Your first tweet, I had to go back, and the staff, we pulled this out. Your first tweet was August 25th, 2011. You tweeted, thank you, Ward 6 residents, for continuing to put your faith in me. Now, we chuckled because the election was in June, and we finally got a tweet from you in August.
But I've got to tell you.
But it took us a little while to get up fully up to speed. Now we do it without
Jennifer
thinking.
Davis on your staff. I was an early buy-in to the social media
Yes, you
thing,
were.
and she spent a long time with me, training me on how to do that. And shoot, I have a great time doing it.
You do it.
And I continue to do it. And
You and your staff, you guys are always tweeting stuff out and staying in communication with your ward.
well, that's
because
what I
of
wanted
that.
to say.
Yeah.
It has been a great vehicle, both Facebook and Twitter, as well as our bi-monthly newsletter, in communicating with our residents out in Centennial. We have a lot of followers on both vehicles. We have a lot of people that subscribe to the newsletter, so it's been a very, very positive thing. I remember during the Grand Teton floods, if you recall, I got a Facebook message in one morning when the floods were occurring about opening a back gate for a neighborhood down the street from me. Then within an hour, we had those gates open. But that's how effective social media has been communicating with my constituents. What a great vehicle for us to use, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Love to tell the story. The eye-opener for me is we had the big floods you're talking about there, and the Grand Teton corridor, that whole corridor was just devastated by the flood. And so we had a neighborhood meeting, and we were going to try to figure out how do we need to communicate with everybody, let them know what's going on, the timetable for cleanup, timetable for repair. And so I stood up and I asked people at your meeting, you asked me to come up, and I said, well, how many of you are on Facebook? And about half the room raised their hand. I said, how many of you are on Twitter? About the other half raised. Yeah. Is there anybody not on Facebook or Twitter? Not a single person in that room. There were probably, what, 150, 200 people there?
Oh, easy. And that's the night we had all the media outlets there talking about the floods, and we had the Forest Division there. We had everybody there, and it was interesting to see that. And folks of all age groups. I mean, there wasn't one demographic that fit the bill.
Young, old, rich, poor, all the ethnicities.
But now that gives us, as the city, and you guys have been taking advantage of Twitter as well on highlighting things the city of Las Vegas is doing. And it's been a great vehicle for people to follow. How many followers does the city of Las Vegas have
on
now?
Twitter, we have 172,000.
That's pretty significant.
And well over 50,000 on Facebook.
Yeah, that's pretty significant. A little more than me.
Yeah, just a tad, just small.
Just a little bit.
But you know, we started off one step at a time.
Yeah.
And you've embraced it too. So we wanted to pull that because you went from that tweet to now you do it within your sleep. I think you can do it, you know, so you're very good at it, and your staff too. Councilman, I think we couldn't have you on the last show without talking about really the salient issue in Ward 6 has been the incredible growth out there. We had the huge growth, unprecedented. We had the recession. Everything went the opposite way. Now we're on the uptick again. So I want to talk a little bit about that.
Well, you know, sometimes folks ask me, what's been the biggest challenge for you out in Centennial Hills in Ward 6? And it has to be the foreclosure crisis. Now, I would have said years ago growth and development and making that work right and putting it in the right places. And I've been very successful at that, don't get me wrong, but we were hit the hardest out in Centennial Hills because we were growing so rapidly, because people were buying houses so quickly, then the market just dropped out.
Bottom fell out.
And I mean, there were abandoned neighborhoods, there were unfinished roads and all half-street improvements. We had to call in bonds, we had to go out there and finish some of our own, even up in the Providence area. There were a lot of things and challenges that we were dealing with. Squatters are still an issue we're kind of dealing with as well, but the foreclosure crisis also forced the city of Las Vegas into the foreclosure registry program. Remember that episode? We were trying to help. We wanted the banks to maintain foreclosed properties to the standard of the existing neighborhoods to keep property values up. So I sponsored that ordinance. It was very effective, and it's still in place today.
Yeah, and it really helped hold some neighborhoods together because, as you well know, you'd have several houses on the street that had gone into foreclosure. People just walked away from them, and they were starting to show signs of really disrepair.
Oh, big time. There was one neighborhood, about 24 homes. It was gated. We were doing a Neighborhood Partners Fund grant program in their little park, and their HOA consisted of 5 homes that were left in that neighborhood of 24. It was devastating.
And do you remember, Councilman, the homes that were left behind, some of them had become roosts for pigeons. The pigeons had just descended on a few of those houses and almost had taken over just on all over the property.
Well, and kids breaking in and squatters and the whole 9 yards. So it was just a whole level of challenges that it brought forth with it.
It was interesting because what preceded all of that dip was all the growth out there. But you know, through all of that, Councilman, through the explosive growth, you were able to carve out, I think, one of the true legacy projects of your 12 years, and it really is the Tule Springs National Monument. You tweeted this. This was on December 12th, 2014. You tweeted, "Tule Springs bill passed the Senate today," and that was a huge step forward because what it meant was that area was going to be preserved for all time. And Councilman, tell people why this place is so special.
Well, the Tule Springs Fossil Beds National Monument, it took 10 years in the making with our congressional delegation, and to sneak that in at the last moment before the Senate appropriations passed their bills. This is a rich area of the Ice Age fossil beds. And the top of that plateau you're looking at right now is actually the bottom of the lake. This was a rich, marshy area millions and millions of years ago, and this is where all of the prehistoric animals, the Ice Age animals, would come down and feed. So there are just so many wonderful finds out there, and the protectors at Tule Springs do a great job in giving tours out there. Steve Rowland and Josh Bonney with UNLV, of course, have partnered with the National Park Service. They're partnered with the City of Las Vegas, the Natural History Museum. There's so many people involved with this right now because it's such an exciting time for the City of Las Vegas to have this in our own backyard. We haven't taken advantage of it like we need to, and I'm really excited about what the future holds.
Well, and you and I have always talked about this. It's one of those things where we get tourism here for entertainment, but now we're going to get tourism for history. They're going to come here for the paleontological.
Well, we do. I mean, but
we
they still do. They come for the Grand Canyon. They come for the Valley Fire. They come for Red Rock conservation areas. So this is just one more, and I'm really excited to see how this partnership evolves in the years to come.
Yeah, it's incredible that such a treasure out there. Some of those fossils you said are just
laying on the ground,
right out to sea.
Yeah, and if you're not trained, you'll miss it because I've been out there before and done. That's a bone.
That's important. Yeah, that
looks like a rock to me.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Untrained
I
eye.
know, but see now people can come out there, see those things. It'll be interpreted for them,
and teaching our children of the rich history of this valley, whether it's going all the way back to prehistoric times or it's going back to the 1800s, and we just celebrated the city's 112th birthday, so that's pretty significant as well.
Well, and through all this, you've still managed the growth. You've still managed to keep things on an even keel. Happening today, you tweeted this back in 2013. You said Huckleberry Park groundbreaking, and you know what? Huckleberry Park now here in 2017, getting ready to open, right?
Well, it's halfway built. At the last City Council meeting, we had an agenda item to appropriate $1.9 million of yet collected residential construction tax money to fund the other half of that park and finally get that thing built and finished for them. So we're excited about that.
So those are some nice projects to go out the door with, very nice.
Well, they don't stop.
Nice.
I mean, lacrosse has been a big thing for me as well. We've got some, the only dedicated lacrosse fields in Southern Nevada are in Centennial and Ward 6. But we've really listened also to the residents and what their needs are and what they wanted to see happen out there and trying to match the growth and development as well.
All right. Well, things move on in Ward 6. You have a movie in the park.
Movie in the Park coming up.
Leaving office, you're still going to do the movie in the park. It's going to take place on June 9th, Friday, June 9th at dusk. It's Moana is the movie. And you always turn this into a big deal out there. There's always a lot of pre-game activity, if you will, before
we are going to have the Las
starts.
Vegas Hawaiian Civic Club out there with us, and I guarantee you there will be some kind of dancing on stage, and I'm just hoping they're not making me join them.
Oh, I got a hunch you'll be there. Yeah, in a grass skirt. I'm betting on that.
Yeah, you know my family and my team, yes.
And the very next day, fishing derby.
It is my last fishing derby.
Yeah.
Once a year we partner with Fish and Wildlife. There's a free fishing day. You don't need a license. You can come out to Floydland Park at Tule Springs and fish for free. There will be lots of fishing poles, lots of bait. I will help you bait your hooks and teach you how to cast, one of my favorite things to do. And we're going to have the Girl Scouts of Southern Nevada out there doing the pancake breakfast for $5. So come on out, bring your family, bring the kids. If sometimes a lot of kids in this valley have never even held a fishing pole in their hand, and it's a great opportunity to do that, and as one of my last things I'm going to do in political office, I'm looking forward to it.
And Councilman, the best part of it, it's free, right?
That's the best part of it. Everything we do in Ward 6 is free.
So good stuff. Well, as we said, you've got some very special guests here with us today. We're going to take a little walk down memory lane with them, and we're going to introduce those folks in a minute, but first we're going to go ahead and take a short break. Like I say, we need to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll be joined with some of these special guests to continue our look back at Ward 6 over the last 12 years. That's up next, so please don't go away.
Drop that baby.
Welcome back to Access City Council. Since this is Councilman Ross's last show as his term is reaching an end, we want to look back at all he's done for our community over the past 12 years. We've been doing that. But who better to have with us today than a few that have worked directly with the councilman over these last few years, and they know all the inside secrets. We have Jana Bruner, we have Christine Kramer, and we have Michelle Thaxton joining us here today. So these guys really know what goes on in
I got to
Ward
tell you
6.
something. You know how successful I have been as a city councilman for the residents of Ward 6
have
over the
been
past 12 years. I don't do it alone, and I haven't done it by
Now,
myself.
you've always had great staffers.
I have an amazing team always to help me get things done, and I've just been so blessed and fortunate to have such wonderful people in my life, and they know my passion for serving people. They know what my priorities are in the ward, and they were always on top of everything.
Yes, they have always been.
I just
very
had to show up
organized.
sometimes.
Very organized. So for you folks out there, if you ever reached out to Ward 6, you needed to contact them about some issue out there, most likely the first line of people you talked to were either Michelle, Christine, Jana, also Tuesday James. We want to mention
And
Tuesday.
Tuesday was remarkable as well, and she's sorely missed by all of us, and she made a major impact in all of our lives, and grateful to have that in our hearts for forever.
Wanted to mention her today. She was part of this family. I lost her to cancer here a couple years back, and still missed around here, she said.
And
always
oh,
will be.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and part of Team Ross, and always has been, and always will be. And even her husband Hadley, he's been part of Team Ross as well.
Sure.
So, well, this is a family event for us. That's how we operate in Ward 6 and in my office. And I've been very blessed with amazing people, talented people to help me.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear some funny stories. Funniest story, Ward 6, Councilman Ross. He always was wearing some pretty good get-ups at the Centennial Hills Day, the costume, the Halloween stuff. We had Three Musketeers, we had Vikings, we had a little bit of everything over
When
the
you
years.
dressed as Thor and matched
Thor,
my son.
Exactly.
What movie was that for Thor?
The Avengers.
The Avengers, yeah, that's right. And her Christine's son dressed the same way.
Exactly.
He made it look better than I did, though. But that's part of the fun. It's
Right.
part of the fun of public service, and I hope that I've taken a council office to the next level of, hey, I've served you, and you guys have had fun with me. So I hope.
Absolutely. I think one thing that's great about Mayor Pro Tem is he's always willing to jump in and put a costume on and be out there with the community. I think it's probably because he has a list of grandchildren. 16, right?
15.
15.
How many grandchildren did you have when you started?
0.
0. So you can mark the time by the grandchildren and the years.
I didn't even have any children married when I first got elected. So they've all been married, and we've got 15 grandchildren, and it's an amazing thing. Good point, Jan.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jen, and what else?
Yeah, I just think he's always been willing just to jump in there, and he never even flinches when we suggest something like put a grass skirt on. And every once in a while, the coconut bra might throw a little.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm going to pass on that, but he's always willing, and it's just because he truly is a family man, and he wants to serve the community, and kids are always willing to come up to him. So it's a nice, refreshing approach.
Yeah. Always very approachable, accessible too.
Absolutely.
Always available through, coffees with the councilman or neighborhood meetings or on social media. Or at all the events. Did you ever miss very many events out in Ward 6 over the years?
I missed I missed half of this last spring celebration just because of my knee injury, and so I was out there for most of it. And then the kids did the dunk tank like they do, the youth council does, and I missed one movie in the park because of this knee injury. But we missed one Cowboy Christmas because it snowed that morning at Tule Springs.
Brutal weather that
it
day.
snowed.
Yeah.
So
I was going to ask Michelle that. Michelle, most difficult event you had to work with this guy over the last 12 years, because there were some funky weather ones. We had wind, cold snow.
Right. I think the most challenging were the Easter events, unfortunately. Those were challenging when not every child gets an egg.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, crisis, yeah.
Right, but, I've got to say, like Jana said, he's always been up for anything. And then he even volunteers himself. So you guys saw him dye his hair pink. That was his idea that he came up with. He told the kids, okay, you did a challenge for the principal, read 10,000 books. If you read 20,000 books, you can dye my hair pink. And then the next year he told them the same thing, and I'll ride the donkey. And so he's ridden actually a donkey twice, 2 different schools. He volunteered for both. And,
I remember that. It's like, what's he going to do next year? Shave his head? Parachute in?
Right.
What's coming next?
And we found Michelle. We took her from the private sector, and so she was probably wondering, what have I gotten myself into coming to work with the city councilman? But you've had a lot of fun, I hope, along the way, and you've certainly helped me a whole lot. So thank you very much, Michelle.
I have to say that the best part, he's so great with kids, and when you go to Nevada Reading Week with him, they're all sitting in front of him, and you'll see one kid come stand next to him. The next thing you know, another kid comes stand next to him. And as he's reading, the entire class ends up around him. He just has that charisma that the kids just want to be near him, around him, and want to learn more.
That's so true. Good point. Hands-on, definitely, Michelle. You guys will relate to this. We had the big flooding out in along the Grand Teton Corridor. What year was that, Councilman? Was that 2013?
Yes.
Yeah, 2013. And so you and I went with him because they were putting in those box culverts, had everything all torn up in there. He went out to inspect in person the box culverts going in out there. And so we went along. He's like, well, you know.
We took a camera with us,
We did.
too.
We surely did. Yeah, exactly right. It's like, well, this is something that obviously we want to keep everybody updated on the progress out there.
Yeah.
So I think he liked the whole construction. He loved the construction stuff, too.
Well, I am a
Yeah.
construction worker,
Yeah.
you know.
Been up on the bridge.
Yeah,
Centennial Bowl.
getting Christine up on the bridge of the Centennial Bowl was a feat.
She loves heights, too. She
does.
loves climbing up there, and always one of her favorite things.
Speaking of heights, David, this guy jumped for scouting.
Oh, no.
So out of the stratosphere. It was a one and done for Mayor Pro Tem,
Yeah.
but he finally
Wise.
was convinced. I think it was more the helicopter, and what channel was it that was filming?
Channel 8.
That kind of convinced him to actually jump, but he, after jumping once, that was good enough for him.
And
but
you were
he-
there for that, weren't you, Michelle? Yeah.
I was actually the one that convinced him to jump.
You'll be on the news chickening out, Councilman, if you don't go.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was the convincing
Right.
factor.
After that, he convinced everybody else to jump.
You know, can I confide in something? Every year when that would come around, I was terrified that you were going to ask me to do that. I was deathly afraid that you were going to ask me, and you never did, thank God. See, you were always such a good guy,
Well,
you know. You were such
well,
a good
thank
guy.
them,
Don't ask Relman, he doesn't want to do this. you
because
know?
we actually got
So-
Councilman Coffin to jump one year, and he loved it. He was ready to jump the next
I
year.
know, completely,
Yeah.
completely happy with it.
He
very
did great.
brave.
I was very impressed with him.
Ooh.
You know, we're
I
for good
get scared
cause.
just eating dinner up there, let alone jumping off, you know. So,
Yeah.
well, folks, this is it. We're
Oh no,
about out
Christine,
of time.
you've got a funny story, don't you?
Lay us on it. Lay it on us.
There's so many, it's hard to pick which
Yes,
one.
I know. You've got a few.
Yes. But you might run for another office one.
she makes me laugh.
thinking ahead.
She's always
Down
thinking.
the road.
Oh, she's always thinking. See what I mean about surrounding myself with talented people?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very smart. Very smart.
Well, thank you, David. Thank
Well,
you.
ladies, thank you so much for being on the program, and thank you for all the great work you did for the councilman over the years. And Councilman, I'm going to give you the final word here before we tell everybody goodbye.
You know what, David? It's hard to give a final word. You know that. I'm not looking forward to that last city council meeting. It's going to be very tough and emotional. I've come to love the people here at the City of Las Vegas. Everyone I've got to work with, especially my team. I'm a little biased when it comes to that, but
Can see why.
my family too. They backed me up 110%. I didn't run for this office by myself. They were behind me, have been behind me since I even thought about doing it. And that makes a big difference. If you have the support of people who love you, and then you surround yourself with people who love you and they do a great job, it makes a big, big difference. I just hope that something Oscar Goodman always said to me is just, leave the city better than it was when you got there. And that's hopefully what I've done for the city and for Ward 6.
I think you've done that.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
God bless you. Well, we always want to hear from you, so if you have something you'd like to communicate with Councilman Ross, you better hurry because he's only going to be around for a few more weeks. You can find him on Facebook and Twitter. You can also contact him by picking up the phone. We're at 702-229-6154. Send him an email. He's councilman-sross@lasvegasnevada.gov. All right, Councilman, thank you so much, and we're going to tell you out there, thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Access City Council. Don't miss our next show beginning on May 25th with Councilwoman Lois Tarkanian. Don't forget you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around.